When that bitch named Karma knocks on your door, she always finds you. If we're going to be honest, we could talk about a mother right now who the whole world thinks isn't a great mother, and that's Janice Combs. Like, if you look at the Puffy documentary, she knew that she was up against something different when he called her a bitch and slapped her.
You could look at it and be like, well, you raised that. And
well, I know what would have been going through my mind.
Right.
I'd have tore that whole fucking place up. That shit ain't happening over here. Kandi Burruss is going through a divorce. You knew she was the breadwinner. You knew she was paying the bills.
I mean, it sounds like to me he wants alimony.
It sounds to me like he's whining. Welcome back to the pickup line, and today we just have one question.
Are you a good mom?
Are you a good mom?
Do you battle with that?
Yeah, I think everybody does. Tell me a mother that doesn't.
Well, I think when you hear the question, it's like, yeah, I am.
Being realistic, I think that at some point, every single solitary woman that is a mother has said to themselves, am I a good mother? Am I making the right decisions? Am I raising my family right? You know, that's just real.
It's so good to have friends around you that support you, that you can kind of bounce things off of. You know, like we'll call each other in the morning and be like, okay, this is what I think I'm going to do. What do you think about this? Or this happened on the way to school, or this happened last night. And having that support system around you really helps reinforce that you are a good mom, that you are making the right choices. And we get into the habit of we just do what we do every day. We don't realize how much we're actually doing as moms.
And there are some mothers that are not good mothers. I mean, I've seen people parent or women that were being mothers that, in my opinion, I kept it to myself. I didn't think they were doing a very good job as being a mother.
Like what?
You know, sometimes people are selfish. Sometimes people put their own needs and wants ahead of theirs. If we're going to be honest, we could talk about a mother right now who the whole world thinks isn't a great mother, and that's Janice Combs. Like, if you look at the Puffy documentary right now, I'm sure there's a whole lot of people questioning the fact, is she a good mother?
Yeah.
Was she a good mother? And we don't know that. I guess that's between her and Puffy. I guess he has to decide while he's laying there, and he has to say to himself, has my mother been a good mother?
Well, I would imagine her as a mother, if you're a good mother, you do question like the choices that you make.
Yeah.
And you're not always gonna hit it. Like we're gonna miss the mark.
And I'm sure she's saying to herself, you know, as the documentary's going on, I'm sure she's one of many mothers that are saying, did I do the right thing? Back then I did the best I could. Back then, you know, back then nobody taught me to do any better. But you question those things when your son is in a position that he's in. She's questioning that right now, which is one of the reasons why we're having this show.
Yeah.
Are you a good mother?
She may be looking back saying, I did what I had to do.
And she may not have no regrets about doing it. Right? She may not have. That's like that generation of mothers and parents were completely cut from a different cloth. I mean, they just lived the way they lived. And from the documentary, he saw way more than he should have saw as a child, which has imprinted on him. And he has kept those behaviors in him. He's still doing those things that he saw. It's almost like he mimicked his mother's lifestyle or his father's lifestyle. And he wanted it so bad, no matter what that cost was.
So that's the piece right there, is that's a lifestyle he wanted. Because we can all look back at our experiences growing up and say, oh, I made a conscious decision to not do fill in the blank.
But if he's still very close with his mother, she may have been rooting him on to do it. She may not have been saying to him, baby, you don't want to go this way. Or baby, nothing good is going to come out of that. Now, I'm not saying I know what she said, because I don't know what she said at all. But, you know, right now the world is judging her as a mother because basically he got a freak off from his mama, right? I don't agree with having young children in those situations, but I think that she knew that she was up against something different when he called her a bitch and slapped her. Because that shit ain't happening over here.
Well, there's a way to think there. You could look at it and be like, well, you raised that.
Well, you can look at it and say but that's very abnormal. You don't slap your mama and call her a bitch.
No, you
and live to tell about it. And live to tell about it. That's
and you would think back then you wouldn't live to tell about it.
Well,
like not literally, but you know.
But if that's true, and that did happen, she was afraid.
It seems like a lot of people were afraid.
You stupid.
I mean, it's true. It seems like a lot of
I
people
had to
were
laugh
afraid.
at that myself.
I
but
mean,
I'm saying I'm not afraid of my son in college.
because you raised your child to
And I
respect
do
you.
think, yeah, but I do think at a point in time when you're raising kids and the kids get grown and they want to come back at you, you know, there's like it's like, did you buck up on me? Like, right? You kind of like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on. Back in my mother's day, she would get this supernatural strength from somewhere, and she's like 5'2", and she whoop everybody's ass in the room, right? But I think that when that happened to her, I think she was scared. I think she kind of froze up and was like, wait, did he just slap me?
I mean, we would have to speculate, obviously, what must have been going through her mind when that happened.
Well, I know what would have been going through my mind.
Right.
I'd have tore that whole fucking place up. I'd have tore that place up and been arrested. They would have arrested me because my son is not going to do that shit to me.
I couldn't even imagine.
I bet she couldn't imagine either. But she woke up real quick. But I think that once that happened, it set a precedence. It wasn't nothing she could do with him. It wasn't nothing she could do with him. But ride with it.
So it's like, it's a choice. It's all a choice. And
Parenting's
maybe
a
there's,
choice.
well, the choices he's making, the choices he's made as well, too. Unless there's something literally going on, you know, that's not connecting.
But what should have been going on is therapy.
Yeah.
From the first day that you hit me, there should have been some therapy. Like there should have been some therapy when he was a little boy. Which we have to talk about that. You know, when you're a mother and you're questioning the fact, are you a good mother or not? You got to look around at your environment and see all the things you do in a day. I mean, tell me 10 things you do in the morning before your kids wake up. Do you even do 10 things?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah. I mean, there's some, I'll make sure breakfast is started. If there's clothes that need to go throw in the dryer, I throw them in the dryer. If the kitchen wasn't taken care of the night before, I take care of that.
Yep.
Make sure everybody has what they need. As far as, I don't make their lunches anymore, but when they were younger, I would make their lunches.
So we're talking about a different age group of women. I have done 20 things before everybody woke up. I might have cleaned, cooked, fixed, worked out, walked. I mean, I've done a million things for other people. I have probably done one thing for myself. And I think that if you're the kind of mother that gets up thinking about what needs to be done, like when you have volleyball, the volleyball bags got to be ready. The uniforms got to be ready. The socks got to be clean. You got to schedule out your day to pick them up for practice, to take them to practice, doctor's appointments, physicals once a year. You've got 1,001 things to think about as a mother to make sure your kids have what they need, and questioning yourself if you're a good mother or not. If you're getting those things done and raising them in a good atmosphere and raising them to be good people, then you're definitely a good mother.
But I also think a good mother takes out time for herself, because that's how you can maintain being a good mother. You know, otherwise you become real short fuse.
And I'm probably guilty of that short fuse because I didn't take a lot of time for myself. You know, I used to always laugh and say, I think I'm the runaway bride as a mom. So, you know, when in the runaway bride, she liked whatever kind of eggs her man liked. I think we were in New York on a family trip, and the kids said to me, Mom, what do you want to eat? I literally had to think about, what did I want to eat?
You're like, whatever you like.
Yes. Because I've been so busy feeding other people, I didn't know what I liked. I was like, well, I don't know. And then I looked up and I'm like, well, what do you want to eat? They're like, no, what do you want to eat? And so when you're a mother, you don't really know all those things. But I do know that I have never had parties like that in front of my kids. I've never had my kids, you know, you've been here. They go in the basement. They get the TV. They go watch a movie. They get pizza. And then when we are upstairs, maybe they can hear us. I'm sure they can hear some of the things that we're saying. But they weren't in the room and involved.
No.
They wasn't like sitting there while I don't smoke, while people drinking and smoking and talking smack and freaking off like that.
No.
That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable.
That's kind of an example, like we talked about way in our earlier episodes. We talked about, like, once you have children, how your life changes. So the things you maybe would have done prior to having children, those things just are not on the table as an option anymore.
And maybe back in the day, therapy wasn't as much of an option, you know, because remember, what goes on in my house stays in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't you tell our business. Don't be telling everybody our business. That's like a blessing and a curse, because that's not really healthy. Because sometimes things go on in kids' house that they need to talk about. Like, he definitely need to have a conversation with somebody.
I mean, more than likely, they were surrounded by people that were doing the same thing.
So it's almost like he was in quicksand.
So
he didn't have any other choice. I mean,
I always think people have a choice, but once you get older, I think there's a choice, unless there's something going on, like mentally. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's why I said therapy.
Yeah.
And then that's why it's important. Like, I don't know what other people do. I just knew that from when I was a child, there were things that went on in my environment that I said I would never do.
Right.
So I was always trying to make sure what I'm saying is I overcompensated for the things I didn't have.
Well, you know, you say there's a saying that you become the parent you wish you had.
Yes, but I had a good parent.
Oh,
but I also had a
not
parent.
saying that you didn't have a good parent, or I didn't have a good parent, because I did. But there are things when you're raised by a single mom back then, especially, you know, there are things that matter to me that I was like, okay, my mom worked and I work a lot too. So I see that I've adopted some of the same things that she did. However, I was like, well, I want to make sure that I can pick my girls up from school every day, or I can be there when they come home from school as much as possible, especially when they were younger. So those are things I'm saying, like, you become the parent you wanted to have. Like, my mom was working, and I wish, you know, maybe she would have been there a little bit more.
I've always wanted the opposite. I've always wanted a really, really good career. Like, I've always wanted to be that girl as far as like the corporate world was concerned or the design world was concerned. But I was a single mom and I had to stay home. Like, I had kids that were all different ages. Somebody had to take them to practice. Somebody had to, you know, make sure they were straight. Like I said, I look at you and I look at my sister, my sister's been on her job for 35 years, right? And I'm like, dang. And now that I'm trying to get back, it's like I miss so much. Like, I've got my education and all those things, but I often look up to working mothers because it's like, y'all do it all. Y'all do it all. And then I have to think to myself, well, I'm doing it all. Hell, I'm doing it all by myself as well. I mean, I'm in 5 different places in one time. I can't even imagine. It's like I saw this thing on TikTok the other day. It says, where are all the women between 35 and 45? In the car.
In the car.
In the car.
I was talking to one of the soccer moms the other day, and she was, her youngest is 15 now. And so she was just kind of thinking about like working, like I should be working. I'm like, I just looked at her and I said, you do work. You do work every day. Like, and you make a home for your children, and you're doing Christmas cards, and that's not frivolous. Like, those are memories that you're making with your children. And that's something that is so valuable. So, you know, if you're a stay-at-home mom, you're definitely working. You're probably thinking of doing more things, right? It just seems like you're still working. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, you're still working. You're still organizing. You're the house manager. You're all those things.
Gracie and a teammate came home for Thanksgiving, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get these trees up. Like, I was determined. I'm like, I gotta get this together. She walked back in the house. I had 3 Christmas trees up, lights on, and half the stuff decorated. And she's like, what? We just left. But I'm like, I want to get it done. I want to get this done. I want to make sure that everything's done. And I think that I can't really put into words what the definition of a good mother is, because I think that so many times people question their parenting because of their mother. Like, right? So when people make mistakes or people do things, it could be that's all they knew, or that's how their mother was. Or, you know, my pastor used to tell me all the time, Mauri, the apple don't fall far from the tree. You need to go to a family reunion. Before you marry somebody, you need to get to know that other side of that family, because whatever's on the other side of that family is half of it's in him or half of it is in her. And I always looked at all the mothers. I remember when I was little, when I would go to my friends' houses, and I would be paying attention to how the mom parent, where the dad was. I mean, I was always checking out my scenery or what was around me, or if they had people over late at night, were they up drinking? And that happens with my neighbors. We go to my neighbor's house, we'll sit around and drink, or we'll do whatever, but the kids aren't in the room with us. We move the kids out of the room with us. We don't do our thing in front of the children, like, because some things just shouldn't be done in front of your kids.
Well, plus there's conversations that you have as adults that you don't necessarily want your children hearing those conversations too,
Right. Right.
So that's something to keep in mind. One of the things I've learned as a mom is it's so challenging because I work, I'm always struggling with everything being in line, everything being the way it should be, like being able to decorate the Christmas tree and get the lights up and buy the Christmas presents, but then still be in my office and getting things done. And
that's it's not
right.
It's not
and so I
realistic.
think it's, and I'm saying that to say, like, as moms, we need to understand, like, something is not going to be an A, right? And that's okay.
I hate to this is bringing it up again. That's another subject. So right now, Kandi Burris is going through a divorce. I believe she was married for 11 years to Todd.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was reading the articles on them, he's asking for full legal custody. He's asking for, I believe, the last decision making point. Like, if the two of them can't decide on something, he wants that point. He's also wanting full legal and physical custody. He wants the kids to live with him. And he says, because she works too much. And I'm sure while she's going through this point in time in her life, she's thinking, well, damn, it's what I do.
It sounds like to me he wants alimony.
It sounds to me like he's whining. Like, right, he's whining. You knew she worked like this. You knew she was the breadwinner. You knew she was paying the bills. You knew this was your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And now that it's changing, you say she's a good mother. That's what your mouth says, but that's not what your actions say. Because if I read the articles correctly, she offered joint custody from the beginning. Let's just have joint custody and call it a day, which is the fair thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But since you signed a prenuptial that you didn't read, that you said you was coerced into signing, that you filmed signing, that you filmed saying that you did not have an attorney, you filmed this. Think about how many years she's been on The Housewives. What is he doing? It's like, so I'm sure back in the back of her mind, she's questioning herself and wondering if she's a good mother because she's working so hard, because she's doing what she's doing. And she is. I don't know. I don't live in their house. I don't know what the situation is. But if she divorces him, she can adjust her schedule. That's like saying Kim Kardashian, Sierra, none of these women can be good mothers because they have great careers. They're all going to miss something. Like, right, you can't make it to everything. My kid's dad didn't make it to everything. You can't make it to every event. But that doesn't mean you take her children away.
Right.
Because you feel like because she has a job or because she has a career that she can't be a good mother. That's stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that's really the reasoning behind what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, obviously she's a good mother. Mm-hmm. She's obviously taking care of her family. And it seems like a tactic.
It seems like he should have been a good reader and read the prenup. Right? He should have been a good reader.
Yeah.
Like, reading is fundamental. Like,
yeah. And and you can't take away from a woman can have a career and be a great mom at the same time. She can do both.
It's plenty of them that do it.
Yeah.
It's plenty of women that are good mothers that, not just entertainers. There's doctors and lawyers and surgeons and attorneys and environmentalists. There are women that, and I think maybe that's part of the problem is, women can do it all.
Well, I would challenge it to say also that sometimes the career makes them a better mother. Being able to have that career outside of the house makes them a better mom.
Mm-hmm.
For some women.
And some women, I can look at it and I'm like, God, shit, that bitch is balling. Like, mm-hmm. I just have to be honest with it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I ain't mad at her at all, right? I'm not mad at her at all. You have your babies, you bounce back in shape, you're running businesses. And that's another thing about her. She's a businesswoman.
Mm-hmm.
She's a full-fledged businesswoman. Women, don't question whether you're a good mother or not.
And don't compare. Like, don't compare yourself to other moms either, because your journey is your journey. Like, like I said, there are some moms that I know, there are a lot of clients I talk to, and they're they're busy, they're moms, they're professionals, they're driven. And because of that, that makes them better moms. That's their lane.
And
That's
you
what they're
hear a
built to
lot of
do.
stay-home moms saying, I'm losing my mind in this house
There's
with
that.
these kids.
There's that.
I mean, these kids are driving me crazy.
But you also have stay-at-home moms that's what they feel like they were born to do. Like that's what they love.
Well, not all of them, because some of them, some parents are staying home now because it's just cheaper.
Right.
Because childcare is expensive. Not that they don't have degrees, because I have degrees. Not that they're not capable of working. It's more conducive for the woman to stay home. And sometimes it's more conducive for a man to stay home. I know some guys that are single dad. I mean, not single dads, that are stay-home dads. But what I'm saying is, I can remember one time a friend of mine said, a younger mother came to her and said, I just need a few minutes because I'm losing my mind. I'm in this house with these kids all day. I'm not organized. I can't multitask. I'm losing my shit. Mm-hmm. And that's fair, because strength and resilience, some of these skills aren't, some of these women don't have those skills. Like for me, I could do it all. I'm like an octopus. I can just do this, do this, do this, do that. Some women can't. Mm-hmm. And because they feel like they're falling apart, they feel like they're not a good mother, but it doesn't make them a good mother. It just means they need a moment.
Yeah, I would say it goes back to one of the things that a good mother does is they take time for themselves. Mm-hmm. So to be able to say to a friend, hey, can you watch my kids for me while I go out, I need a moment. Or instead of you driving the kids to school every day, you carpool with another mom. Doing things like that, though, to give yourself a break is important.
And that's like saying, in this situation with Kandi, because I work, because I'm on the road all the time, you as their dad should be happy to help me out. Mm-hmm. Because either way it go, he gonna get something. He ain't gonna walk away with nothing. I mean, he's not gonna walk. I mean, I don't know what his alimony would be. I don't know if they can make a settlement, but to want your kids for fiscal reasons is just stupid. And what does that tell the kids? So it's the question of the day is, are you a good mom?
So one of the things I think you can do just to determine if you're a good mom, and again, not comparing yourself to other moms.
Yeah, because there's no definition of that.
Yeah, it's just, some of the things that you maybe would have done before, and we've talked about this in another episode, the things you would have done before, like hanging out late and drinking too much and having a hangover the next day, like you start to realize like those are some things that just don't fall in line with being a good mom. Mm-hmm. And, you'll figure that out for yourself as a mom.
Well, yeah, because realistically, if you look at me, I was very, very young when I had my son, but my kids are so far apart in age that they went through every season of life with me. And God knows I had my fair share of fun when I was younger, and I did whatever I needed to do. But I've always protected, when I was very young, I protected D in doing those. Mm-hmm. He wasn't at the parties with me. He didn't go everywhere with me. I wasn't in the streets all the time. I did go out. I did have fun. I did date, but I kept those things out of my house. I didn't bring those things to my house. I didn't bring him to the party. So I agree with you that when you get older, you change. It's like the Bible says, when you're a child, you do childish things. But when you become an adult, you get held accountable for those things that you're doing that are no longer permissible or good for your kids.
Yeah. And as a mom, you learn how to become, because it may not be hanging out and partying and drinking. Like that might not be the thing. We can't assume like that's what all moms do. Mm-hmm. But one thing that you do to become a better mom is you surround yourself with moms that are kind of who you aspire to be like. And then also you do things to become better. So you read books or you look up people on social media that you can follow that represent how you would like to be as a mom, mm-hmm. So you just are always evolving, mm-hmm. Not just as a person, obviously, but also as a mother.
I'm going to just say this, and this is a piece of advice. I wish I had a me when I was going through this. I wish I had a me. I wish I had somebody that said, come here, listen, let's have a conversation. I wish I had somebody to guide me through it. Like my grandma used to, I would call my grandma and she would just like, oh, hell, girl. He just being him. It's just life. This is just what happens. But she always told me one important thing. Did you pray about it? And if you're uneasy, I tell my kids this all the time. If it doesn't sit right with you, if you're in doubt, if you're uneasy about a situation, don't do it. If something's not sitting right with you or you can't go to sleep, then you're doing something wrong.
Right.
Right? Because you have to have a peace. And the Bible says you have a peace that surpasses understanding. Your conscience is telling you when you're in the midst of the shit to get out of the shit. You know that. Like I believe in my heart of hearts that your Holy Spirit tells you, hey, that's not good for you or your baby.
But I think that's people who are brought up in that space will have that.
But I still think that God gives you a free will. And I think that he nudges your heart to know. You can't tell me nowhere inside that Puffy's not sitting around somewhere having some regret.
I'm sure he has regret now, but in the process of doing all the things that he was, accused of doing, do you think that there was that little stirring inside of him to know that it wasn't right?
And you know why I think that stirring was inside of him? Because he fought so hard to be powerful. Look at when he's in that documentary, you could tell he is wrestling with himself. He is just, he's scared. He's wrestling. He's confused. He's like, we got to make it right. We got to make it right. We got to make it right. But when God steps in, it's too late. Mm-hmm. It's too late. And so you can do whatever you want to do in the dark.
So then what about his mom, right? Since we're talking about being a good mother, you feel like for her, do you think she had that like, oh, I really shouldn't have my child in the car while I'm doing this? Or was she like, I'm doing what I got to do to make sure?
At the time,
because I think people...
At the time, she could have been doing what she has to do. But when I tell you something, when that bitch named Karma knocks on your door, she always finds you. And right now, this is Karma. Mm-hmm. I bet you right now she's sitting there somewhere regretting it. I bet you right now she's sitting somewhere saying, you know what, I wish I would have done things differently. Right? We can say what we want to say. Any human being who's had their life blasted like that is like, what could I have done different? Whether you're guilty or you're innocent, what could I have done different to stop me from getting in this position? Mm. Could I have done something differently? Right? Could I have just been there's a ton of things he could have did. I don't want to speak on those because I don't want to speak out of turn. But you said it yourself. You always have a choice. I'm sure they're thinking maybe if I didn't do A, I could have did B. If I didn't do Z, I could have did what. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's constant, right? It's just like same thing that we're talking about with Todd and Kandi. Know what you're dealing with. You had somebody filming you. They got the footage from somewhere. It didn't just drop out of the sky. So whoever was filming it, you couldn't trust them because they gave the footage away. Know who owns the rights to the filming. Know who has the IP address. Know what you're dealing with. I tell my kids this all the time. If I know what you're up against, I can help you. If you blindside me into some bullshit, what am I going to do?
But she may feel blindsided. You know what I mean? Because you don't go into a marriage thinking that the person that you're marrying is going to, betray you.
Well, that's why she had a prenup.
So.
Wait, that's why she had a prenup. And if you look at the episodes of that show, her mama, they never liked him. Mm-hmm. Her mother just always had a feeling about him. And it's something to be said about that wisdom.
No, that speaks volumes.
It's something to be said about that wisdom.
When a mom is like, and that's a good mom. Mm-hmm. When a mom is like, and a good mom, I think, says it too, like how she would say it.
She didn't hide it.
I think that's what moms do, and it maybe it needs to come out in a way that lands.
That could be one of the reasons that she went ahead and had that prenuptial agreement. I don't care what happens in your life. The cycle comes back. I tell my children this all the time. The pendulum always swings. The pendulum always swings. You do wrong, it's coming back. You do right, it's coming back. You cannot hurt God's children and think that it's okay. On any level. Because at some point, you got to pay the piper. You got to pay your dues. Again, karma will come for you. Now, how it comes or how many years it takes to come, right? How many years it's going to take to come, I don't know. But secretly, I can't imagine laying your head down on a pillow and not feeling nothing. And I mean, I'm sure narcissists can do it. I'm sure it can be done. I mean, but that speaks volumes. If you can lay your head down on that pillow and not have any regrets for anything that you've ever done, or not gone to the people that you've done wrong to make right, there's a place for that.
So a mom does that. A mom can look back and see where things could have been changed or do things a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. And then also, like you've done, teach your children to be that way too, mm-hmm. to really examine the choices that they're making.
And you know what? Say sorry. It's people that I've had relationships with that didn't work out, or people that probably don't like me and probably still don't like me. But, you know, I've probably try to make it a point at some point in time to say I'm sorry. Even if I wasn't wrong, it's just say I'm sorry. Just so that the karma and the bad juju and the bullshit don't come back on you. Like, right, just mm-hmm. shit, whether I did it or I didn't do it.
But that's a good lesson in forgiveness, right? Being able to forgive other people for things that they've done. But also, I think as moms too, is like forgiving ourselves when we make mistakes.
I mean,
because I can't imagine how she can lay her head down on the pillow thinking about what she may have done with her son.
Forgiveness is selfish, because forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. It's for you to be able to lay your head down on that pillow. Mm-hmm. It's for you to say, you know what? Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, son. Maybe I wasn't the best mother. I tell my kids this all the time. Maybe I didn't make the best decision. Or, you know, maybe we can agree to disagree. Or maybe I did what I could do, right? At some point, there has to be a conversation. And it's not throwing a blame or doing whatever. It's just, I'm sorry, son, because maybe somewhere down the line, I failed you. You know, can you imagine how that feels for her? Mm-mm. You know, maybe I failed you. And then, you know, my prayers go out to the whole family, right? Because the children have to deal with this on social media. The mother has to deal with this. They're still trying to grow up, and they're kids.
Yeah.
They're kids. Is anybody thinking about the kids?
Right.
Your kids were in the courtroom listening to this. Your kids.
And now would be the time to course correct.
Girl, shoot. You know? I have a boyfriend. I'm hiding it. Let alone, like, what? Your kids is listening to all the freak offs in the courtroom. And I'm telling Negroes, you can't come over. Mm-mm. Like, you know, it's very disheartening. It's very disheartening. And, you know,
I mean, on the upside, even though this is a, you know, horrible situation to be in, but on the upside, there is an opportunity to course correct and make changes. But somebody has to make the choice to do that.
Yep. And you know, as my grandma used to say, this too shall pass. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, there was a time we were talking about Monica Lewinsky. It passed. I mean, it's going to pass. Right. You know, it is going to pass. Now, the public shame and the, you know, your career may not be the same, but it will pass. So the question of the day is, are you a good mom?
Right.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of The Pickup Line.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch us.
And listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.